wait a minute. There we go. Hello and welcome to Harvest Girl International's All Girls Matter Self-Esteem Academy. I am your lead facilitator, Miss Nichelle Miller, and I am so excited to be here with you today. And we are talking about character. Who are you? So maybe you are a Christmas character, Santa type character, Christmas tree character, Mrs. Claus character. No, we're not talking about that. Are we talking about a superhero? No. Cartoon characters? No. A meme? What you're going to be for Halloween? No, none of that. Today, we are talking about you and your character. And who are you? What does it mean to have good character? Are we naturally a good character or a bad character? I don't know. Let's get into today's lesson. So if it's your first time with us, welcome. We are so excited that you are here with us. If you are coming back, welcome back, girl boss. As you know, in our lessons, we talk about all things that are empowering and exciting and about building confidence and making you an amazing, confident girl boss to go out and conquer the world. This programming is targeted for girls ages 9 through 17, but it's beneficial to anyone. So first things first, grab your worksheet. Should have been in your email with the link to this video. If you don't have that, stop, grab your worksheet or at least pull it up so that you can follow along with it for today's lesson. Secondly, make sure you grab a water or juice, something to get going through the lesson with you, and grab a friend. So much better when you learn something cool with a friend, right? All right, so let's get into today. Oh, and please make sure to click like below. Just click like right now. You're gonna like it, I promise. Okay, here we go. So when we talk about character, we're actually talking about traits or adjectives or characteristics that describe a person. So think of words you may use to describe someone or how you may describe, how people may describe you. So things like courageous, friendly, confident, girl boss, amazing, kind, loving, charitable. Those types of things are considered, they're adjectives, of course, and adjectives are describing words, but they're characteristics which help define or describe a person, right? Now, there are also negative character describing words like rude or mean or bossy. Those types of words that you can also use to describe people or people can use to describe you. So your character or who you are is a definition of how you interact with other people, how you handle situations in your life, and how people see you. That's basically your character in a nutshell, right? Okay, so as we said a little bit earlier, there are good and bad character traits. Now, things that are considered good character traits are things that are acceptable, most acceptable in our world or our society. So behaviors that we expect of other people or that they may expect of us. So kind of like that, you've probably heard, do unto others as you want others to do unto you. So those types of traits or those types of things are considered good character traits. So being kind, being friendly, being loving, being welcoming, those things are kind traits that we would expect from somebody else. Being honest, being kind, being trustworthy. Those are just things that we expect and that we expect, that other people expect of us. Those are considered good traits or good character building words, okay? There are also traits that we don't really approve of in our society. Things like being dishonest, being unkind, being disrespectful, being impatient. Those are considered negative traits. So when you look at a good character versus a bad character, a good character typically is described with those good words, those positive words, those good traits, those, think do unto others type words. And then your negatives are things that we don't really expect of people or don't like of other people, like being mean to us or being dishonest or disrespectful, those types of things. So I ask you, I'm just going to ask you right now, who do you want to be? When people think of you or describe you, what do you want them to say? What types of words do you want them to use to describe you? Do you want those positive words or those negative words? Okay, now first I do have to add this. No matter what you do, there are always going to be people who describe you negatively, okay? So we're talking about the majority. Everybody's not going to like you. That's a totally different conversation for another day. But the majority of people. So, and it's not that there's anything wrong with you. There are just people that, for whatever reason, will describe other things negatively or mean. So when we talk about, how do you want people to describe you? We're talking about the majority. So your common average person, how do you want them to describe you or to remember you? If someone says your name in a room, what do you want the conversation to be? Have you ever thought about it? Most people don't, until something happens and they're like, oh, I didn't mean that. I didn't want you to think of me that way. So we're talking about, most of us want to be seen as a good character or a positive person, or those positive traits. So that's how we want people to see us. But how can we make that happen? Well, a lot of different ways. First of all, it's important to know that we're not just born good character or bad character. We're just not. Things happen over time. And over time, as you grow and you get older and you go through life and you go through experiences and circumstances and you face different people, these are the things that help to shape who you are. So if you think about it, if you're around people that are positive, upbeat, friendly, you're probably going to be a positive, upbeat, friendly person. If you're around people that are, negative and grumpy and they don't like anything and woe is me, that could be how you are, right? So everything that we interact with, everything that we're around influences us and impacts our inner being, our character, how we come across to other people, how we treat other people, how we react to everything. Because as we go through life, we're basically little data collectors or information gatherers. So think of it like you're at a grocery store and you've got a cart and you're pushing along, and everything that you see kind of gets put in your cart, whether you put it in there or not, because everything around you impacts you. And we use that information, we use what impacts us to make decisions, to determine how we're going to react to things, to determine the type of person we're going to be, and to really grow into our individual selves. Now, one thing that's important to note, this process never stops. So you can be 9 years old, you can be 90 years old, you are still every day learning something about yourself, learning something about the world around you, the people around you, and you're growing. And you may be one way today, and as you grow, a couple years from now, you may be a totally different way or think totally different. And that's because we're building character. We're building ourselves. We're creating almost like Lego blocks who we're going to be at the end of the process. So a couple of things that can help you, define and build your character. One thing that's really, really important, and we encourage it a lot in this program, is to take note of your behaviors. This helps you understand how actions are connected to how you feel. Okay, think about this. Take note of your behaviors. What does that even mean? Have you ever stubbed your toe or smooshed your finger? Ever? Most of us have. Most of us have like stubbed our toe on the edge of a couch or on the edge of a bed frame. Ouch. You can probably think of it right now, right? When that happens, how did you react? Most people yell. If it's your hand, you're probably like, ah. Sometimes we suck on that finger thinking that's going to help it. But we know that hurts because it's happened. So once it happens, we retain that information. Ouch, that hurts. I don't like it. And so we typically react the same. Well, at the All Girls Matter Self-Esteem Academy, we are strong believers in journaling. How's that impact anything? Because journaling is your data tool. When you write down or journal about something that happened, how it made you feel, how you reacted, whether it made you feel happy or sad or angry, you're making an observation from this data that you've gathered, right? About yourself. And it teaches you either that was a good reaction, okay, that's positive, that's a positive character trait, or wait a minute, I shouldn't have reacted like that. Maybe you got into, you know, a disagreement with a friend and you yelled at them and you came across angry and possibly scary. And once you journal that and you read it and you're like, oh no, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want them to describe me that way, as angry or scary, or I don't want them to see me as upset. So we use that data to modify our behavior. It's like, most of you aren't driving yet, but it's like driving a car. Like if you press the gas pedal and you really press it, you take off, right? If you press the brake pedal, you slow down. So you have to like moderate or modify. If you want to go faster, you push more. If you want to slow down, you hit that brake. Just like with our behaviors and our character traits, sometimes we have to press the gas or we have to press the brake just to kind of to balance out. But what we do is we learn from everything. So going back to that, talking about taking note of your behaviors, when you journal, you actually have the notes, the data, the information to see how you react to things, to see what things are building your character. And it's really interesting to go back, you know, years or sometimes even weeks or months and read something that you've journaled. It could be something that really, really upset you or hurt your feelings, or something that made you so happy. And you go back and you're like, huh, okay. And like, many times I'll find it something that hurt my feelings or made me sad, and it doesn't upset me anymore when I go back and read it. But at that time, that was information. So I say all that to say, we encourage you to journal, to look at your data. Even if you journal for a week, just journal for a week and see what you see about yourself. See what characteristics you see a lot of. Do you see a lot of positive? Do you see a lot of negative? Do you see kind of a balance of both? Are there things you want to push the gas on, you want to do more of, or things you want to hit the brake on and slow down? Kind of look at that data. And if you don't have a journal, let us know. We'll send you one. How great is that? All right. The second way you can work on your character, or deciding who your character is, because that's what's so great about us as humans. You know, it's like a book. If you're reading and you don't like the page, you turn it, right? Or you change books. As humans, as girl bosses, if there's something we're doing that we don't like, or that we would rather see more, we want to do more positively or differently, we can change it. So make a list of your character traits. So we're gonna take note of our behaviors. We're gonna look at what we're doing, see kind of what we want to do more of, less of, right? And then I want you to make a list of your character traits. Now, this may be hard because I'm asking you to be very, very honest. And a word that we use a lot here, transparent. And sometimes we have to share things that we don't want to share. Like, have you ever written down, like maybe you took a test at school and the teacher lets you grade your own test and you missed one, but you don't want to mark it wrong because you don't want to get one wrong. So it's kind of like that. Like you have to, you know, mark down what you don't even really want to write down. So make a list of your character traits, everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. Sometimes, you know, I can be impatient. I can get frustrated. I can get angry. I can be, you know, kind of moody. I don't want to be that way. I mean, that's not how I want people to describe me, but it happens. So I'm asking you to write down characteristics that describe you. The good, the bad, the ugly. On today's worksheet, page 2 and 3, I've given you a list of positive character traits and a list of negative. And just look at those. I mean, you may be able to think of some really, really quick. You may hear the ways that people have described you. You know, your mom or your grandma may have said you're a certain way, or someone in your family is like, oh, you are always so nice, or you are always so helpful. So you may have some words already that you think of, but take a look, write down, you know, how you are, you know, a few examples of how you are, and the positives, the negative, and that's okay. It's cool. And when you look at those words, so a couple things, you're going to write down your words that you think of, okay? Then I want you to look at those positives and those negatives. And I want you to, you know, if you don't want to write them down, you can circle the words that describe you. Then I want you to take a highlighter. And most of us have highlighters. Like I have a, look in here, hang on. I have a purple and a yellow. I have a green. I even have a blue. Not important. Grab a highlighter of any color and highlight the words that you want to be more of. Maybe you want to be more helpful. You want to be more charitable in your community. You want to be more studious. You want to study more. You want to be neat. You want to be organized. Highlight the ones that you want to be more of. Then I want you to take a pen and I want you to cross out the words that you want to be less of. Okay, so circle the words that describe you right now. This is how you are today, not what you want to be, not where you'll be tomorrow, not where you'll be in a week, how you are typically, okay? Circle those words. Then I want you to highlight the words that are really where you want to be, really what you want your character to be based on, what you want to be known for. Highlight those words. And then I want you to take another pen and cross out the words that are what you don't really want to be. Okay? So then what you have right there in front of you is a roadmap or a starting point of not just building your character, because you already have a character foundation. You are you. You're the only you there is. That's your gift. That's your special power. You're unique. But you're building the type of character, the type of young lady, the type of woman that you want to be, that you want to be known for, the things you want to be known for being, right? So this roadmap, your highlights, that's your map right there. So when you look at the traits you crossed out, these are things you may need to, stop or hit that brake on, right? If you're impatient, what makes you impatient? Think about that. What can you do to make yourself be a little more patient? Maybe you have to stop and count to 10, or maybe you need to say, okay, usually I'm impatient, but I'm going to be so patient right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whatever it takes, kind of look at the things that you have, look at what you want more of and less of, and just start thinking. I'm not asking you to do anything right now. We're just building the foundation, right? Okay, so you may have to work daily on these things. Anything that you want, of course, it takes practice. So like I was saying, if you're impatient, you may have to practice being patient. If you're messy, you may have to practice being neat. But it's just those little things, those little tweaks to make sure that you're pushing yourself to be more of how you want to be described, how you want to be remembered, how you want people to talk about you if you're not in the room. That's your character. That's you. That's what we're talking about today. So, girl boss, I'm asking you, who are you? Who is your character? Or what character traits do you want to embody? How do you want to be described? Do you want to be described as mostly those positive traits or those negatives? How are people describing you right now? Are the two the same? Probably not. Most people, they're not. Most people think they're more on the positive side, and we may have some things that we don't like as much, so we want to kind of push the gas on the positives. But when you dig deep, what are your top 5 characteristics? What top 5 things describe you? Or even better, top 10. That's your character. And is it who you want to be? Number 2, are you ready to journal and observe your data? Okay? This is all about you, knowing what actions and feelings come from things that happen around you, knowing what puts you in that positive space or that negative space. Are you ready to journal and kind of dig into where you're seeing those character traits in yourself? Because I promise you, if you're journaling and looking back at your journal entries, you'll see things you love and things you're like, oh, maybe I could tweak that a little differently. This is all about data, right? And then number 3, what change is needed? What do you need to do more of or less of? We've talked about that this whole time. So what do you need to focus more on to be the type of character that you want? And then what do you need to do less of? It's really the 3 things that we're looking at today. So not a lot. I really hope that you got some ideas about your character, the type of character you are, the type of character you really want to be, and how you can start making that list of those things you want to be, and then just start doing little things here and there. And we're going to talk more in our future sessions. Remember, we have a whole 2023 coming up. In our future sessions about some changes, some tweaks, some steps that we can take. But today was all about you. Who's your character? Who do you want your character to be? How do you want people to describe you? And going from there. All right, girl bosses. That wraps up today's lesson. Don't forget to complete your worksheet and email it back in to be eligible for this month's prize pack. If you don't have a journal, make a note on your worksheet that says, I need a journal. We'll take care of you. Also, please click like below for this month's video, and I will see you next month with another program. Again, I'm Nichelle Miller, your lead facilitator for Harvest Girl International's All Girls Matter programming. And remember, you hold the power to dream.